Hi everybody, it's Starla from Starla's Creative Teaching Tips, and we are back to do Body Language Part 3. Part 1 we did the head, and Part 2 we did the arm. Now we're going to do the backbone. That's right, here we go. That's right, this is an actual human vertebrae. I know, isn't it cool? Look at the openings where the spinal nerves come out. Look at that. Now, of course, it's missing the fibrocartilage disc in between each one of these, which would make the opening even bigger for the nerve. We can talk about disc problems later. Excellent. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the regional terms down your vertebrae and tie it in a little bit into what we call the axial skeleton. So I know Halloween, it taught us that we only have one skeleton, right? But you got two, all right? So here we go. I outlined this guy for you. This is our board we use to build clay. And so we see that the axial skeleton is on the axis of the body, all right? And then the other skeleton, which is the appendicular skeleton, so this is like your appendages right here, okay? So it's called the appendicular skeleton. It's for movement. The axial skeleton, think about what's in here and what's in here and what's inside the vertebrae. Vital organs, that's right. The axial skeleton's job is to protect vital organs. Cool, huh? All right, here we go. So let's start with these regional terms. So everybody, take your right hand, make a C. There you go. Good. Put it around your neck. Excellent. Good. For C is for cervical. Cervical means neck. All right, so here we go. You have 7. Remember the magic number? 7. 7 vertebrae to make up the cervical region. All right, cool? Okay, now, anytime someone's in a wreck, a motor vehicle accident, most of the time, first responders, out of precaution, because again, the spinal cord runs through the opening right here of the cervical region here, all the way down to the thoracic. Sometimes there's damage that we don't know about, okay? So they're going to put what's called a cervical collar on them, and we abbreviate it as a C-collar. So if you've ever seen that, now you know what it is, okay? All right, so here we go, everybody. Cervical. Excellent. Okay, now everybody get ready. Here we go. Thoracic. Yeah, thoracic. Thoracic. That's right. So this area of the vertebral column is known as the thoracic area. All C's, no S's. Okay? All right, so look at this. So here is the thoracic region. There's 12 of them. And you can remember that because each one of them has a pair of ribs that comes off and around to form the thoracic cage to protect your heart and your lungs and major tubing like your aorta and vena cavas and bronchial tubes and trachea and esophagus, okay? All right, now, as that comes around, that cage comes around, it meets with this flat bone right here, and the regional term for it is sternal, A-L, okay? The term for the bone is sternum. So a lot of times you see the regional term and the bone name are very similar, okay? Just remember the regional term, it usually ends in an A-L. All right, so everybody do this right here. There's your sternum. It's a sword that protects your heart. It helps form a shield with that thoracic cage. Cool? Okay, now everybody do this for me. Make your knuckle like that. Okay, great. Now put it right in the middle of your sternum. Now rub. Oh! Ow! Does that hurt? Well, yeah, quit doing it. Stop doing it. Okay, that's called a sternal rub because it's on the sternal region. And we do that for patients who may be unconscious. It's part of the Glasgow coma scale to see how deep that coma would be. Hopefully that patient's going to come up swinging and responding to pain. If not, that tells us that their unconsciousness is deep. Okay, cool, that's the sternal rub. Also helps you get your older sibling who's pinned you to the floor off of you. That's right. Okay, ready? All right, so here we go. Cervical, thoracic. There you go, do it with me. Yeah, it's cool to be a nerd because we make more money. All right, ready? L's. Make L's. L for lumbar. L for lumbar. Now, your lumbar region is right back here. See it? Right back here. And there's 5 big vertebrae for your lumbar region. Okay? Now, in the front, it's known as abdominal. So notice up here, it's cervical all the way around, thoracic all the way around, except for sternal. And then we have lumbar, and we have abdominal. Good? Excellent. Okay, ready? Now take that L, just like you have it, for lumbar. We're going to bring it down, and we're going to fuse it. There we go. And that is known as the sacral for regional term, sacrum for bone name. Okay? So that's the sacral. So we got lumbar in the back, swing it around. There you go. There's your sacral. Look at your fingers. That forms the coxal region, or the coccyx, as you know as your little tailbone. Excellent. Okay, so let's review what we have so far. That's right, cervical, C for cervical. What do we put on a patient who's been in a motor vehicle accident when we first get there? C collar. Excellent. Who's this? Thoracic. Excellent. Good. Who's this? Sternal. Good. Who we got back here? Lumbar. Excellent. Good. Abdominal. Good. Fuse it. Boom. Sacral or sacrum for the bone. And what's your little tail called? Coxal. Bone. Coccyx. Excellent. Okay, now I want to show you something. What do you notice about the size of the vertebrae as they go down? So here's cervical, thoracic. Look at those big lumbar. What do you notice about them? That's right, they get bigger. And why do they get bigger? Because bones, remember I've taught you that the bigger a bone is, the stronger it is. That's right, the stronger it is. So, how much does a head weigh? Depending on ego, around 8 pounds, maybe 10, depends, okay? So, we only need these 7 little bones to hold up 8 pounds. But, as we move down, more and more weight is added, so the bones, of course, get bigger. Excellent. Okay, now I want to show you something else. We know that the skeletal is also an anchor for muscles. In bones, we can read bones. So I want to show you something about this little backbone, okay? I call her Indy, all right? Now, take a look right here at this side, the left side of her vertebral column. You see this big growth, kind of looks like pieces of bone sticking out? Okay, what does that tell us? That tells us that she was left-legged, all right? So this skeleton is a long, long time ago from India. And how do they carry water? How does she carry water? With pots, clay pot. Now the clay pot itself, it's got some weight to it. Then she fills it with water. A gallon of water is 8 pounds. So let's say it was just 2 gallons of water. And so she took her left leg right here, see? And she put that pot and she hoisted it up onto her head. Yeah. We know she was left-legged because the muscle, the hip flexors, grew into the vertebrae on this side, and so the bone responded by making more bone. Yeah, so remember this always, that even though we've got the axial skeleton, that's more for protection and core strength, and we've got appendicular for movement. Remember that the skeletal system and the muscles always have an intimate relationship. So as you are learning regional terms, okay, and it may be the first chapter, the beginning of school, remember that's going to tie into skeletal, muscular, cardiovascular, and neural. So it's worth your time to learn these terms. All right, so one thing I want to remind you of, you may have heard the saying before. It says, go get a backbone. Get a backbone. What does that mean? That means to have courage. Courage to do the right thing. All right? So what I'm going to tell you is, get a backbone to be kind. It doesn't take any courage to be distant or dismissive, irritable, or mean to someone. That takes no courage at all. I challenge you, get a backbone. Be courageous and thoughtful. Take the time to be kind. All right? Hope you had a great time with this pocket lesson. Go out there and make a positive difference in the world. I'll see you next time.